The stars looked different from the observation deck. Commander Doyen Park stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching Earth grow smaller in the distance. His home planet was just a blue dot now, barely visible among countless stars. Soon he would not be able to see it at all. "Commander, we will reach the jump point in 20 minutes, said Lieutenant G, her voice breaking the silence. Park nodded without turning. "Is the stealth system working properly?" "Yes, sir. The coalition ships cannot detect us," she replied. Park finally turned away from the viewport. At 45 years old, his face showed the marks of someone who had seen too much war. A long scar ran from his right temple to his jaw. His black hair had patches of gray at the temples, but his eyes remained sharp and clear. "Good. We only get one chance at this," he said. The small ship, named Shadow Striker, carried only 6 people. It was humanity's last hope. After 10 years of brutal war against the coalition of Galactic Warlords, Earth was losing badly. The coalition had better weapons, better ships, and controlled most of the galaxy. They had destroyed countless human colonies already. Earth was next. Park walked to the command center where the rest of his team waited. They were the best soldiers. Earth had left. "Show me the latest scans of the coalition fleet," he ordered. Officer Tay, their intelligence expert, brought up a holographic display. Hundreds of red dots filled the screen. Each dot was an enemy warship. "Their main fleet is gathering here," said Tay, pointing to a cluster of dots. "The Coalition Supreme Overlord Beck is on the command ship. Our spies confirm he's planning the final attack on Earth in 3 days. Park studied the display. "What about their defenses?" "Heavy. The command ship has 5 layers of shields and thousands of soldiers. No one has ever gotten close to their leadership before," said Tate. Major Sun, weapons specialist, snorted. "That's why they sent us. We do the impossible." Park looked at each member of his team. Besides G, Tay, and Sun, there was Dr. Kang, their medical officer, and Sergeant Doe, explosives expert. All of them had volunteered for this suicide mission. "Let's go over the plan one more time," said Park. He touched the display, zooming in on the massive coalition command ship. It was shaped like a giant spear, 15 kilometers long. At its front was Overlord Beck's personal quarters. "We'll use the experimental wormhole device to jump directly into their ship's maintenance section," Park explained. "From there, we split into 2 teams. Team 1 will plant explosives in the engine room as a distraction. Team 2 will make their way to Beck's quarters. And then we kill him," said Major Sun, cleaning her pistol. "Not just kill him," corrected Park. "We need to download the coalition command codes from his neural implant first. Without those codes, killing him won't matter. The fleet will still destroy Earth." "The download will take at least 30 seconds with direct contact to his implant port," said Dr. Kang, holding up a small device. "That means we need him alive and still for half a minute." Sergeant Doe laughed without humor. "So we just need to sneak onto the most heavily guarded ship in the galaxy, fight our way to its most protected area, capture the most dangerous warlord alive instead of killing him, hold him down for 30 seconds, and then escape. Easy." "No one said anything about escaping," Park replied quietly. The room fell silent. They all knew this was a one-way trip. Lieutenant G changed the subject. "Tell us about Bayek. What kind of fighter is he?" Tay brought up an image of their target. Overlord Bayek was tall and thin with pale blue skin. Like all members of the Zen species, he had 4 arms and no hair. His eyes were completely black. "Beck is over 300 years old. He's conquered 17 star systems personally," said Tay. "He's a master of the Zen blade arts and has never lost a duel. His personal guard consists of 50 elite soldiers who have sworn to die for him." "He sounds charming," muttered Doe. "He's also a tactical genius," continued Tay. "That's why the coalition made him Supreme Overlord. He can predict enemy movements before they happen." Park nodded. "Which is why we must be unpredictable. Humans are the one species the coalition has struggled to understand. We don't fight like the others." The ship's computer announced, "Approaching jump point. Wormhole generator charging." The team quickly moved to their jump stations. Everyone strapped, and except Park. who remained standing holding a handle on the wall. "If any of you want to say final words to loved ones, now is the time," he said. "The communication system will be disabled after the jump." Major Sun pulled out a small photo of her family. Sergeant Doe closed his eyes, his lips moving in silent prayer. Lieutenant G simply stared ahead, her face a mask of determination. Dr. Kang typed a quick message on her personal device. Park had no messages to send. His family had died years ago when the Coalition destroyed the Mars colony. All he had left was this mission. His hand unconsciously moved to the small metal cylinder hanging from his neck, his wife's wedding ring. "Commander," called Tay from his station. "I'm picking up unusual readings from the Coalition fleet." Park moved too. "Look at Tay's screen." "What is it?" "They're moving faster than expected. The attack timetable has changed." Tay looked up, his face pale. "They're not waiting 3 days, they're attacking Earth now." Park's decision was instant. "Change of plans. Jump directly to the command ship. No time for stealth approach." "Sir, that's suicide," protested G. "We need the element of surprise." "Earth needs us now," said Park firmly. "Reset the coordinates." As G reluctantly entered the new jump location, the ship's computer warned, "Danger. Direct jump to hostile vessel not recommended. Risk of materialization inside solid matter, 64%. Override safety protocols," ordered Park. "Authentication code, Executioner." The computer responded, "Safety protocols disengaged. Wormhole opening in 10 seconds." The team braced themselves. The small ship began to vibrate as the experimental wormhole generator powered up. Blue energy crackled around the hull. "Whatever happens," said Park to his team, "remember why we're doing this. For Earth. For all the humans who will never know our names." The vibration became violent, warning alarms blared throughout the ship. 5 seconds to jump, announced the computer. Park closed his eyes briefly, thinking of Earth, its oceans, its forests, its crowded cities. All the things worth saving. 3, 2, 1. A blinding flash of light engulfed them. The Shadow Striker vanished from normal space, hurtling through the artificial wormhole toward the heart of the enemy fleet. The human hunt had begun. The galaxy's most feared warlords were about to face something they had never encountered before, a human with nothing left to lose. What they didn't know was that Commander Doyen Park had a secret that made him deadlier than any weapon. The Coalition had given him a name during the war, a name that made even their bravest soldiers tremble: the Executioner. The jump through the wormhole felt like being torn apart and put back together. For a few seconds, Commander Park couldn't breathe or see. Then reality snapped back into place. Alarms blared throughout the Shadow Striker. Red emergency lights flashed. Park grabbed a wall handle to steady himself. "Damage report," he shouted over the noise. Lieutenant G checked her screens. "Hull breach in the cargo section. We've sealed it off. Engine power at 60%. Park looked out the small viewport and saw they were inside a massive metal chamber. Giant machines hummed around them. They had materialized inside the Coalition command ship's engine room. "Where are the enemy soldiers?" asked Park. Officer Tay scanned the area. "No life signs nearby. The engine room is mostly automated." Park nodded. "We got lucky. Let's move before they notice us." The team quickly gathered their weapons and equipment. Each person carried a standard pulse rifle, a sidearm, and combat knives. Park had an additional weapon, a long black sword made of a material that could cut through almost anything. "Remember the plan," said Park. "Team 1 creates the distraction. Team 2 goes after Bayek. Major Sun, Sergeant Doe, and Officer Tay would be Team 1. Park, Lieutenant G, and Dr. Kang would be Team 2. You have 30 minutes to reach the central reactor and plant the explosives," Park told Team 1. "After that, detonate them and try to make it to the escape pods." Everyone knew that "try to make it" meant most of them wouldn't survive. "No," one complained. As Team 1 left, Park turned to his own team. "Let's find a computer terminal. We need to locate Bayek." Lieutenant G found a terminal near the engine room exit. She connected a small device to it and began bypassing security. I'm in, she said after a minute. Downloading ship schematics now. A 3D map of the massive ship appeared on her device. G pointed to a section near the front. Bank's quarters are here on the command deck, 20 levels up from our position. What's the fastest way there? Asked Park. G traced a path through the ship. The main elevators would be quickest, but they'll be heavily guarded. There's a maintenance shaft that runs up through the ship. It's meant for repair robots, but we could use it. Show me, said Park. The maintenance shaft was a narrow tube that ran vertically through the ship. It had ladders and small platforms every few levels. It will be tight, but we can fit, said G. Park nodded. Let's move. They left the engine room cautiously. The corridors were wide and brightly lit, designed for the taller coalition species. The team moved silently, using hand signals to communicate. At the first intersection, they encountered 2 coalition guards. The aliens were nearly 2 meters tall with scaly blue skin. Before the guards could raise their weapons, Park moved forward with incredible speed. His sword flashed twice, and both guards fell without making a sound. How did you move so fast? Whispered Dr. Kang. Park didn't answer. Instead, he dragged the bodies into a storage room. They continued through the ship, avoiding main corridors when possible. Twice more they encountered small groups of guards. Each time, Park dispatched them before they could sound an alarm. Finally, they reached the entrance to the maintenance shaft. It was a small hatch in a wall overlooked by most crew members. I'll go first, said Park. He opened the hatch and squeezed inside. The shaft was dark and narrow. They had to climb up using small metal rungs embedded in the wall. After climbing 10 levels, Park's arms burned with effort. He could hear Ji and Kang breathing heavily behind him. Suddenly, a loud boom shook the entire ship. The lights in the shaft flickered. Team 1 has started the distraction, said Park. We need to hurry. They climbed faster. When they reached the 20th level, Park carefully opened the hatch. They emerged in a service corridor near the command deck. The command deck will have the highest security, said Ji, checking her device. Bank's quarters are behind it. Park checked his weapon. What about internal sensors? Can they detect us? I'm jamming them locally, replied Ji. But it won't last long. As they prepared to move, the ship's internal communication system activated. A deep, commanding voice spoke in the coalition language. Ji's translation device converted it to English. All forces to defense stations. Human infiltrators have been detected in the engine section. Security level maximum. Protect the Supreme Overlord at all costs. They know we're here, said Kangi, nervously. They know about Team 1, corrected Park. Not about us. Let's use this to our advantage. Most of the guards were running toward the engine section. The team moved in the opposite direction toward the command deck. They encountered fewer guards than expected, but those they did meet were elite soldiers. In a narrow hallway, they faced 4 guards wearing specialized armor. These weren't regular soldiers. They were Bayek's personal guards. Take cover, shouted Park as the guards opened fire. Energy bolts hit the wall where they had been standing. Park rolled to one side and fired his pulse rifle. One guard fell. Ji shot another. The remaining 2 guards advanced, firing continuously. Park pulled a small device from his belt and threw it toward them. It exploded in a flash of light, temporarily blinding the guards. In that moment, Park charged forward. His sword cut through the guard's armor like it was paper. Within seconds, both aliens lay dead. Commander, called Dr. Kang. Ji is hit. Park turned to see Lieutenant Ji on the floor, clutching her side. An energy bolt had caught her in the ribs. Blood seeped between her fingers. Kang was already treating the wound. The bolt missed her vital organs, but she's losing blood. Ji looked up at Park, her face pale with pain. I can still fight, Commander. Park knelt beside her. You've done enough, Lieutenant. Stay here with Dr. Kang. I'll go after Beck alone. That's suicide, said Kang. You need backup. What I need is for you to keep Ji alive and prepare our escape route, said Park firmly. The mission comes first. Park gave his spare ammunition to Kang. Then he took Ji's device with the ship schematics. The download device, said Ji weakly, handing him a small metal cylinder. Don't forget what we came for. Park nodded and put the cylinder in his pocket. I'll be back, or I won't. Either way, Try to make it to the escape pods in 30 minutes. Before they could argue, Park continued down the corridor alone. According to the schematics, he was close to Beck's quarters. But between him and his target were the most elite soldiers in the coalition. Park checked his weapons one last time. Then he did something unusual. He removed his combat vest and outer armor, leaving only his basic uniform. He seemed smaller now, less threatening. He took a deep breath and steeled himself. Then he stepped into the open and walked directly toward the command deck entrance. The guards saw him immediately, a dozen weapons aimed at his head. But instead of attacking, Park raised his hands and called out in the coalition language, "I surrender. Take me to your supreme overlord." The guards looked confused. This wasn't the behavior they expected from the legendary human executioner. What they didn't know was that Park had already calculated every possible scenario. Sometimes, the most direct approach was the most unexpected. And the Supreme Overlord would never pass up the chance to meet a surrendered human commander face to face. The coalition guards surrounded Commander Park, 8 tall aliens with weapons pointed at his head. Park kept his hands raised, his face calm. "Search him," ordered the lead guard in the harsh coalition language. 2 guards patted him down roughly. They took his hidden knife but missed the small download device in his boot. The lead guard grabbed Park's arm and pushed him forward. "Supreme Overlord Bayek will be pleased to meet the human commander before we destroy your planet," said the guard. Park said nothing. He let them think he had given up. In truth, this was exactly what he wanted. They marched him through wide corridors decorated with symbols of coalition victories. The walls showed images of conquered planets and defeated armies. Park memorized every turn and door they passed. Finally, they reached a massive door made of black metal. It slid open silently. The guards pushed Park inside. The room was huge, with windows that showed the stars. At its center stood a raised platform with a throne-like chair. Sitting in it was Supreme Overlord Bayek. Bayek was taller than the other Zen aliens. His blue skin was darker, almost navy. All 4 of his arms were decorated with gold bands. His black eyes studied Park with interest. "So this is the famous human commander," said Beck. His voice was deep and smooth. "You don't look very impressive." Park remained silent, counting the guards in the room. There were 12 plus Bayek. "Nothing to say?" asked Bayek. "I expected more from the man they call the executioner." Park finally spoke. "I came to talk." Bayek laughed. "Talk? Your planet is about to be destroyed. What could we possibly have to talk about?" "Surrender terms," said Park calmly. "Not for me. For you." The room fell silent. Then Beck laughed again, louder this time. The guards joined in, their harsh laughter filling the room. "You humans are truly strange creatures," said Beck when he stopped laughing. "Even facing defeat, you maintain this, what do you call it? Ah yes, humor." Park took a small step forward. The guards raised their weapons. "It's not humor," said Park. "It's a warning. Call off your attack on Earth or you will regret it." Beck stood up from his throne. He walked down to stand in front of Park. Even though Bayek was taller, something in Park's eyes made him uncomfortable. "You are in no position to make threats, human," said Bayek. "Your team in the engine room has already been captured. The explosives they planted have been found. Your mission has failed." This was news to Park, but he didn't show it. He had known the odds were against Team 1. "Tell me," continued Bayek, "how did you plan to kill me? With that small knife my guards found? Or did you have some other clever human trick?" "I didn't come to kill you," said Park. "No? Then why are you here?" Park smiled slightly. "To deliver a message." "What message?" "That humans don't surrender." In that moment, a massive explosion rocked the ship. The lights flickered. Park had been counting the minutes since they separated from Team 1. Despite Bayek's claim, it seemed Sun, Do, and Tay had succeeded in their mission. In the moment of confusion, Park acted. His hand shot out, grabbing the nearest guard's weapon. With incredible speed, he fired at 3 guards before anyone could react. Then he threw himself behind a pillar as the remaining guards opened fire. "Kill him!" shouted Beck, retreating to his throne. Energy bolts hit the pillar, melting its edges. Park took a small device from his boot, the one the guards had missed. It wasn't just a download device, it was also a weapon. He pressed a button on it. The device transformed into a small but powerful gun. Park took a deep breath, then leaned out from behind the pillar and fired. 2 more guards fell. The remaining guards were taking cover now, firing from protected positions. Park couldn't get a clear shot at Bayek, who was behind his throne. Another explosion shook the ship stronger than the first. Emergency alarms began to sound. "All personnel to escape pods," announced the ship's computer. "Engine core breach imminent. Repeat, engine core breach imminent." The guards looked nervous. Their ship was in danger of exploding, but they couldn't leave their leader. Park used their distraction to move to a new position. He fired again, taking down another guard. 7 left plus Bayek. 15 minutes to core breach, said the computer. "Find him and kill him," shouted Beck to his guards. "I must reach my escape ship." The guards spread out, trying to surround Park's position. But Park was no longer there. He had moved silently to a new hiding spot. One guard came too close. Park grabbed him from behind, using him as a shield while firing at 2 more guards. Both fell. The guard in Park's grip struggled, but Park's strength was surprising. He snapped the alien's neck with one quick movement. 4 guards left. Beck was growing, desperate. "Secure the exit, don't let him escape." The remaining guards moved to the door, forming a line of defense. They thought Park wanted to escape. They were wrong. Park had been moving steadily closer to Bayek's position. Now he fired his small weapon at the ceiling above the guards. A section collapsed, crushing 2 of them. The other 2 fired wildly in Park's direction. Park rolled to a new position and fired again. 1 more guard down. The last guard charged at Park, firing his weapon continuously. Park waited until the guard was close, then stepped to the side. As the guard passed, Park grabbed his arm and twisted. The guard's own momentum broke his arm. Park finished him with a quick strike to the neck. Now it was just Park and Beck. 10 minutes to core breach, announced the computer. Beck emerged from behind his throne. In his upper hands, he held 2 curved blades. His lower hands held small energy pistols. "I underestimated you, Executioner," said Bayek. "A mistake I will not repeat." "Surrender," said Park. "Call off the attack on Earth and you might live." Bayek laughed. "Never. Even if I die, the coalition will continue. Earth will fall." "Not if I take your command codes," said Park. Beck's eyes widened slightly. He understood now what Park truly wanted. "You'll have to take them from my dead body," said Beck. "That's not how it works," replied Park. "I need you alive, at least for 30 seconds. Beck attacked, moving with surprising speed for his size. His blades sliced through the air where Park had been standing. But Park was already moving, dodging. The first attack. One of Bayek's energy pistols fired, grazing Park's shoulder. Park ignored the pain and closed the distance between them. The fight was intense. Beck had 4 arms and centuries of combat experience. Park had only his human body and determination, but that was enough. As Beck attacked again, Park saw an opening. He dropped to the floor and swept Bayek's legs. The alien fell hard. Before Beck could recover, Park was on him. He pressed the download device against the implant port at the base of Beck's skull. "What are you doing?" screamed Beck, struggling. "Stop. Downloading command codes," said Park calmly. 25 seconds to go. Beck fought harder, but Park held him firmly. 20 seconds. 15. 10. 5 minutes to core. "Breach," warned the computer. "You'll die too," gasped Bayek. "This ship is going to explode." "I know," said Park. "My mission was never to return." The download device beeped. Complete. Park stood up, looking down at the defeated Supreme Overlord. "Now what?" asked Bayek. "You've got what you wanted. Will you kill me?" Park shook his head. "No. You're going to watch as your grand plans fall apart. Earth will survive. The coalition will crumble. Park activated the device's transmitter. The command codes were now being sent to Earth's defense systems. With them, Earth could take control of the Coalition fleet. 3 minutes to core breach. It was time to go. Park headed for the door. He still needed to find G and Kang if they were alive. Behind him, Beck struggled to his feet. "This isn't over, human." Park turned back one last time. "For you, it is." Park walked away. He knew the real battle was just beginning. The human counterattack was about to start. And he had one more part to play. 2 minutes to core breach. The ship's voice echoed through the corridors as Commander Park ran. The massive command ship was falling apart. Walls cracked, lights flickered, crew members rushed to escape pods. Park headed back to where he had left Lieutenant G and Dr. Kang. He found them in the same corridor. Kang had moved G behind a fallen piece of metal for protection. "Commander," said Kang with relief. "We thought you were dead." "Not yet," said Park. He knelt beside G. "How is she?" "Stable," said Kang. "But she needs real medical attention soon." G opened her eyes. "Did you get the codes?" Park nodded, showing the small device. "Mission complete. The codes are transmitting to Earth now. 1 minute, 30 seconds to core breach." "We need to move," said Park. He helped G to her feet. She leaned heavily on him but could walk. "There's an escape pod section nearby." They moved as quickly as G's injury allowed. The ship shook violently. More crew members ran past them, not even noticing the humans in their panic to escape. "The Coalition is falling apart already," observed Kang. "Without Bayek's leadership, they have no discipline." They reached the escape pod section. Most pods were already gone. Only 2 remained. 1 minute to core breach. Park helped G into one of the pods. "You two take this pod. Head for the rendezvous." "Coordinates." Kang looked confused. "What about you?" "I'll take the other pod," said Park. "Now go." Kang knew better than to argue. She climbed into the pod with G. The door sealed and the pod launched away from the dying ship. Park turned to the last pod. But he didn't enter it. Instead, he turned and ran back into the ship. 45 seconds to core breach. Park moved, with purpose through the corridors. He wasn't trying to escape. He was heading back to the command deck. When he arrived, Beck was gone. The room was empty except for the dead guards. Park went to the main computer terminal and connected his device. 30 seconds to core breach. His fingers moved quickly over the controls. He had studied Coalition systems for years. Now he used that knowledge to access the ship's communication system. "This is Commander Park of Earth," he broadcast to the entire Coalition fleet. "Your supreme overlord has fallen. I have your command codes. Earth's defense systems are now controlling your weapons systems." He pressed a few more buttons. Throughout, the fleet ship's weapons powered down as Earth used the command codes to disable them. 20 seconds to core breach. Park wasn't finished. He had one more message to deliver. "The human race will not be conquered," he continued. "We will not surrender. Return to your territories and never threaten Earth again. If you do, there will be more like me. More executioners." 10 seconds to core breach. Park disconnected his device. His mission was complete. Earth would survive. The Coalition would retreat. 5, 4, 3. There was no escape pod left for him. But he had known from the start this was a one-way mission. 2, 1. The massive Coalition command ship exploded in a blinding flash of light. The shockwave hit the nearby ships, damaging many of them. When the light faded, nothing remained but debris. In her escape pod, Lieutenant G watched the explosion through a small window. Tears ran down her face. "He didn't make it out, did he?" she asked. Dr. Kang shook her head. "I don't think he ever planned to." 3 days later, Admiral Kim stood before the United Earth Council. The large screen behind him showed images of the Coalition fleet retreating from Earth's solar system. "The mission was a success," he reported. "The Coalition is in disarray, Without Bayek's leadership, their attack has been repelled. Earth is safe. And the team? Asked one council member. Lieutenant G and Dr. Kang returned safely, said Kim. Major Sun, Sergeant Do, and Officer Tay died creating the distraction that allowed Commander Park to reach Bayek. And Commander Park himself? Kim's face showed a rare emotion. He remained on the ship to ensure the command codes were transmitted. He sacrificed himself to save Earth. The council chamber was silent for a moment. His name will be remembered, said the council leader finally. All their names will be remembered. 6 months later, Lieutenant G, now Captain G, stood at the new memorial in Central Park, New York. 6 stone statues represented the team that had saved Earth. In the center stood Commander Park, his face calm and determined. G placed her hand on the statue's base where Park's name was carved along with his code name, the Executioner. We've made good use of those command codes, Commander, she said quietly. The coalition has split into 3 factions, all fighting each other. Earth is rebuilding its defenses. We've even started constructing our own fleet of warships using coalition technology. She stood straight and saluted the statue. The aliens still talk about you, you know, she continued. The human who defeated the Supreme Overlord. They tell stories about the Executioner to scare their children. She smiled slightly. They fear us now, just as you planned. As she turned to leave, her communication device beeped. It was Admiral Kim. Captain, we've received a strange signal from deep space, said Kim. It's using an old Earth military code, a code only a few people knew. G's heart raced. What does it say? Just 2 words. Still executing. G looked back at the statue of Park. That's impossible. He died on that ship. We all saw it explode. Maybe, said Kim. Or maybe the Executioner is harder to kill than we thought. What do you want me to do? Asked G. Prepare a ship, ordered Kim. Follow that signal. Find out if it's really him. G smiled. Yes, sir. As she walked away from the memorial, G felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. If anyone could survive an exploding starship, it would be Commander Park. The Executioner's mission might not be over after all. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, a small ship drifted. Inside, a figure sat at the controls. His face was scarred, his body damaged, but his eyes were still sharp and clear. Commander Doyen Park, the human executioner, plotted a course to the next coalition stronghold. Earth was safe for now, but his work wasn't finished. The galaxy had learned to fear one human. Soon they would learn to fear them all.